taking so much of challenges. So first, you'd like to salute you, ma'am, before welcoming you. So it is our privilege and honor to have you with us. I thank our Kavita ma'am for coordinating with Dr. Gayatri ma'am and being near her and helping her to host. So thank you, ma'am. And today we have a very important session. So it is all about emotions. So we say that even we are angry for a minute, it takes half an hour to get back to a normal, normal pattern that affects our body so much. So happy living is very important and healthy living is very important. So how do we handle this emotion and how this negative emotions affect us is to be discussed with by our eminent speaker, Dr. Gayatri ma'am. So she has nearly 25 years of experience and she has helped the society in a very vast way. There is, we need not say when it is a 2 decade, you could say like how many lives she has brought. As she's a gynecologist, she's like a god. She has brought many kids to life, and some of them, they have some as a mother, we all cherish our gynecologist very much. So she's one among them and she's a very good speaker and she has been a resource person for many FTP and many development programs, and she works on with the societal cause and she has received many awards and she has been in the teaching industry for years. Ma'am is very much down to earth, and thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining with us.
Thank you, madam, for your nice words. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I am to join you in the middle of my clinical session. So I have to be with my paraphernalia. But anyway, totally, I think we are about how many members are attending this meeting?
Around 30, ma'am. Now they are around 20 or there, but usually
Okay.
40 people will join for the session, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I assume both of you, I mean, the total crowd belongs to both married and unmarried people.
Yes, ma'am.
Why I categorize uh, those which family will have more commitments, more emotional disturbances than unmarried people. That is number one. Number two, again, though we talk about less of sexual discrimination, etc., as ladies, we will have more commitment towards family as well as towards the work, and we will try to stabilize what you call as superwoman program. That will be a major problem for people who work as well as try to manipulate their family life also. So I want to categorize how to manipulate and manage your emotions so that we deliver, if not 100%, 90% of effective work at our place of work. Is that okay with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can we have it as an interactive session? Because rather than giving a lecture for a period of 1 hour, I want to know exactly what are your problems, what type of emotions you have problems in dealing with, and how you want to manage it. Because unless and unless we categorize and deal with the problem, we will not be able to come to a solution. Because each one of us will have problem. For example, take for myself. See, I have gifted with 2 children. One is a doctor already. She's a house surgeon and working in corona wards, etc. Second is a badminton player. So for her, I have to get up at morning 4:30 for her to go to her sessions. So I manage my sleep program, my work program, all the sessions program accordingly. And I work as a professor of OG at the Sivagangai Medical College. So we deal with high-risk patients, students, staff nurses, again, our colleagues and juniors who need our advice to manage a particular case. So all this has to be categorized. Time has to be allotted to each and everything because everything has its own priority. You cannot say this is more important, that is not important, we can avoid this, we can do this tomorrow, etc. Everything has to be given its due priority. If we do that only, we will not be a failure in a long term. For that, the most important part which disturbs our emotions is the time management. How many of you agree with me? Any response?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very much. Dear participants, ma'am would like to make it as an interactive session. So it will be great if we could interact. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So it is the
Yes, ma'am.
time. Yes.
Yeah.
So, so first I will deal with a married woman. How many of you are married and working?
I
I
think
am married, ma'am.
Any one of them can represent that particular group of people and interact with me. Hello?
I hear most of us are married. I think, ma'am. And as
Okay,
we are all
one of you
teachers,
represent the whole crowd
yes,
because because the topic is like that, how the emotions deal with our capability to do our work. So what sort of emotions disturb us has to be dealt in separately because each one of us will have one problem. The problem we deal with will not be common to all. That's
that's
why
true,
I
ma'am.
just want to categorize and deal. Otherwise, we will not solve our problems because talking about problems will never give the solution. Looking for the solution will give an end to a problem.
That's true, ma'am.
So I want one of you to represent and interact with me.
Okay. Any
Who's
of
the
you
volunteer?
or any of you can volunteer? Participants?
So no questions will be asked at the end.
Anyone? I think anyone participants you're willing to volunteer yourself for representing other people. I, no problem, ma'am.
All
Ma'am,
I no no I okay.
I'll volunteer, ma'am.
Okay. So my first question is, how many hours a day you work, including both your family work as well as your official work?
Mm, we work for myself, ma'am. I can say I work for nearly in a 24 hours. If I minus 9 hours, it is like 19 hours, ma'am. Not 19 hours. I can say I work for minimal 15 hours.
Minimal 15 hours of hard work, you mean? Not relaxing without taking rest
Yes,
on your
somewhere
wheel.
we are on wheels, moving
Okay.
here and there,
Okay.
or thinking, talking, everything.
Okay. That 9 hours you spend with your family or for sleep.
In that 9 hours, I can say 7 hours I sleep, 2 hours I spend with family or for with
Okay.
my friends over phone or
Okay.
something like
This
that.
15 hours is exclusively for your work, or this 15 hours includes your family work as well as your official work.
Both, ma'am, family and official.
So almost you see more than 50% of the day you are actively working. Okay. For any person, there is a maximum limit, stretch limit. Okay. If this 15 hours, if you take for your family, it will be say for morning you get up at 6 o'clock. Till 8 o'clock, you have to work on your family, cook your breakfast or make things ready, etc., etc., etc. That times you will not be relaxing. Yes or no?
Definitely.
If
Yes,
I check
ma'am.
your pulse rate and BP, that will be the maximum during that time. And
Yes,
hardly you
definitely.
will have a fall of both your pulse rate and BP between 9 to 10 once you enter your official premises and you start to relax. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
So, what exactly happens is
Yes.
why we all go to work? First question. Why we all go to work?
It is for our personal interest and livelihood, both.
Okay. Personal interest is like you enjoy the job, you like the job.
Yes.
Yes. Second is monetary benefit from the job.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We have
Once you
commitments and livelihood.
enjoy the job and like the job, that should not be a stress to you. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So, when the stress comes in this, when your family commitments doesn't have enough time, when you are not able to plan your family commitments, and that gets impeded upon your work environment, you get the stress. Yes?
Yes, ma'am, that's true. That is when we are not able to, when we get stresses, even something we enjoy to do, but something happens in our work, something which is beyond our control, something doesn't goes in the way. I love taking class, but in class, students are not submitting assignments or they are not responding in online. Our energy level goes down.
Yes, that's true, because we do have that online classes. That is real torture.
Yes,
Today
yes,
only I had my full-fledged class at my final year. Not online, offline. They were sitting right in front of me, so I enjoyed the class.
yes,
Anyway,
ma'am.
so when we get disappointment, only when you have expectations, yes or no?
That's true. Yes, ma'am.
So when you do a job which you like, you need not have expectations in that. Because
Okay.
as far as you are concerned, you want to put in 100% of your work, your sincerity, your dedication towards that work and do it. Once you do it, your job is complete. When we accept appreciation or when we accept a particular behavior model from the opposite side, only we get the disappointment. 99% of cases, we will be relaxed if we know what is our work and we do it and relax a bit. This is number one aspect of dealing with the students. Number two, family will play a major role in our work environment, whether we like it or not, because family work is never scheduled. In 90% of the cases where we have problems, it will be the unscheduled family work, because here you can scold your students, you can make them do the work with some other faculty, or you can avoid getting into controversies. But as far as family is concerned, whether it is husband or children, when they don't do something, that directly affects us. Number two, we will not accept no for an answer when the family is concerned. So, as far first thing we have to regularize is the family, because leave alone you, 90% of the people work for monetary benefit to make the family happy, and it is not otherwise. Only few of us are lucky enough to have a job to our liking. I
That's true.
loved medicine and I love practicing as a doctor. So that doesn't interfere with any of my other commitments. But 99% of working women, if you take, they work to have a monetary benefit, they work to have a status in the society, they work to have respect among the family members. For example, if they go to a function or not, she's a professor in such and such college, she works as a manager in a bank. So that gives them a social status rather than a housekeeper. Whether you like it or not, this 90% of monetary benefit is what makes them work, even though the working environment is totally unpleasant. They don't get the benefits out of it, they don't get the regular recognition out of it. So, when that is the case, when they want to satisfy their family for which they work, it is the family that gets the main priority. What problem we face in the family is the household chores, number one. Because when we do all physical work, we get tired. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So the
Too much.
main problem is, yes, maximum that is the reason. You get up, you make them take bath, you cook the food for them, you wash the utensils, the servant maid doesn't come, your house is in chaos. That brings lot of mental disturbances.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So what we have to do as far as the household is concerned. Those days they used to say regularity, sincerity, and division of labor. How many of us allow the children to do household chores? No response?
No response. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm asking literally, this question has a real value, I tell you.
Very
How many
little.
of us, okay, your child is going to be with you for hardly 20 to 22 years. Next 42 years, whether he or she likes or not, is going to be a part of the family where they have to do the household chores. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have got a son, he gets a job at US, he has to wash his utensils, he has to clean his house, he has to clean his cloth, he has to make things proper. Yes?
Yes.
Not only
Yes.
charity starts at home, all this also starts at home. One thing, you make the children share your work.
Okay.
This has got two benefits. One, they appreciate what you do. Because in 99% of the family, the lady or whoever works for it, they strive the whole day along without any purpose.
Okay.
And in the end, they get depressed because they don't get the appreciation. என்ன வேலை நீ பண்ணன்னு ஒரு just a single sentence is enough to take up all the energy from the body. So in the house, if you don't want to be emotionally disturbed, program the household chores. I know it is very difficult. It will take even 3 to 6 months. But once you do it and channelize it, it will be a child's play. It will be a child's play. I'm not asking them to do much of a work. Ask them to put the dirty clothes in a particular wash basin. Once the basket, once their clothes are dried, ask them to separate and take their clothes out. Teach them to iron their clothes. Ask them to wash their own vessels, the plate they eat, the tumblers they drink milk from. Ask them to do it, all minute chores. And in the weekend, give them one room in charge for each one of your kids. Ask them to clean it, make it look clean. You give a chocolate in appreciation. You give a dairy milk to them if they are very young. If they are grown up, give a pocket money of 200 rupees as an appreciation. This will decrease the workload for you. It will make them enjoy their work, and when they get monetary benefits, you don't know the amount of work they do.
That's
As we
true.
work for some other company, they will also work. Another thing, it will make them survive better in any environment. For example, suddenly you send them to a college. How will they know to keep their clothes properly? Will they identify at all their clothes? So it will help them to survive when they are exposed to the outer environment suddenly where they have to manage themselves. If this is followed in every household, when the household chores are shared and they do their part of the work, 90% of emotional disturbances will be dealt with. Very
Yes.
rarely a family stress creating a problem is a very rare occurrence, maybe once a year or once in 5 years. That is not a everyday emotional disturbances, and that will not affect our work environment. Maximum you will take a leave for 1 week, settle out everything and come back and do the work. But if everyday chores, everyday work environment in the house, everyday pattern of studies or people, children doing homework or keeping the house clean or making the maids work proper gets disturbed, that will cause lots of emotional disturbances in our working environment. You cannot sit and teach a class without knowing your maid has come or not. What will be the children doing as the maid cleaned the house, as she locked the door properly, etc., etc., will be going on in the back of your mind. Then how can you give your 100% to the work you do? Not possible. So we have to deal it in two aspects wherein the house performance should not interfere with our work performance. The second thing I find is half the people taking all the official work back to the home, sitting and doing all the paper correction or meetings or everything in the house, not spending the quality time they need to do with the children. Then you enter the house along with your slippers, leave out your official worries there itself. Because after that time, nothing is going to change till the next day morning. Yes or no?
It's true,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
More so, what I see with, students, they have to come home and read. That I'm not interfering. But as far as faculty is concerned,
Sure.
when you have got lot of workload and it becomes mandatory for you to complete that work, keep aside few hours for your children, complete their day-to-day chores, and then get their permission. Say today, mother or father, we have got 2 hours of extra work. Kindly help us to do it. Meanwhile, you do this job. We will go to a hotel to eat tonight or something like that. You cut off your night kitchen work or something like that. Make your work, make it beneficial. At the same time, let the children not feel the disappointment. So it is more than hard work, it is smart work that is necessary. If we do that, we can balance both the sides. This is regarding married couple, both men and women. Another aspect I feel is most of the married women, when we have psychological sessions, what they feel is I work in the house, I go to the office, there also I work, I come back, Again, I do all the household chores, I do the night cooking, everything. My husband is not sharing. But this occurs in more than 50% of the households. But nowadays, the husbands are also changed a lot. They help in household chores, everything. Because during the lockdown, we can see many husbands doing the cooking work and other thing and displaying things and all. So this is what happens. In that case, he is your partner. You have got every right to share your workload. There is no social stigma in washing utensils or keeping your own house clean. We are not going to, I mean, see, when we go out and work for somebody else, that X, Y, Z is a person who is not at all known to us. They don't take part in our daily happiness or sadness. If you feel sick or you become sick, it is a family that takes care of you. Yes or no? So they need more time, more appreciation, and more share of your time than the work spot. Okay, so you please feel free, both male or female partner, whoever it is, you tell what is the problem you are having. There is no use in grumbling, keeping all the boiled up emotions inside, not telling them what you want and finding fault with them. If you represent what you feel and what you want them to do to make your stress bit lessen, 99% it will be done. Very rarely you have got a person as a specimen, as a better partner who never responds to you. Most of the time in the present generation, what we see is once you tell what you need, that is taken care of in some way or other. He may not help you with washing utensils, but he may appoint a servant who does the work so that the stress is off you. But without communicating, we cannot expect the 100% result from them. This happens in all parts of life. I tell you, even if you take your servant maid, you tell her to do a particular job. For example, clean the hall neatly and arrange things. Unless and otherwise, you check, they will not do it properly. Because that is the attitude in the present generation. If that is the case, the more we plan, we execute, and we schedule the work, it is going to be easy. Otherwise, management of time, work, as well as communication is going to be very difficult because future demands our work time not only confined to the working hours, beyond that also. For example, when we go to the administrative part of it, even at night 8 o'clock, you can get a call from your VC or somebody calling, this is what is happening. We have to arrange for this particular program that has to be arranged. A particular person is coming. We have to put in an invite, etc. So immediately you have to rush irrespective of the time and place to make arrangements. And with the net connections everywhere, wherever you are, whatever you do, you are always available for the official people to do the work. Yes or no?
Very much yes, ma'am. Everyone will say.
So even in software,
Yes.
this is the same problem they are facing. One of my friends'
Ma'am.
son is a software engineer. So now he's working from home. He was just asking everybody to keep their mouth shut when the online program was going, and he was asking them not to disturb, not to come inside his room, etc., etc. And one fine day, his mother told, "You are not working in your office to ask everybody to keep quiet or get out of your room. You are working in my house. So it is my convenience. If you want to work with all the inconveniences around, work here. Or go to a hotel, take a room, sit there and finish your work and come back." After that, he was quiet and he did his work properly. So when they start to adjust, sometimes adjustment becomes a problem. You cannot lead a life filled with compromises. There can be a compromise one time or another, but you cannot have your life filled with compromises. So make it a point to tell the opposite person what you need to keep you comfortable. Then see the response, then assess the response and arrange it accordingly. So this is very much important both in house as well as in workplace because emotions play a major role in both areas. Unless and otherwise we deal with them in a calm way, we tend to burst at one time or other. Okay, suppressed emotions are more dangerous than left out emotions. The moment you shout at them and you leave it, the problem is solved. But in the present scenario, that we are not able to do because we cannot call a spade a spade. We have to put in flowery words, everything. That's what I tell you. When we act in a diplomatic way, when we use fancy words in the area we work, the main work is being done for the family happiness. There is no use in coming home and shouting at the children or at the husband or at the maid because you are going to work. That is going to make you lose the entire aim of your life. All said and done, at the final fag end of life, at 50 or 60, we want our children to say, hi, how are you? Did you have your food? And to take care of us. At one stage, each one of us is dependent on the other person for our well-being. At that time, when we face negligence or neglect, we are not able to digest it. What I have done so many things for them, so many things. Everything we do is for our satisfaction. We think they will be happy because if we do this. We think if we cook 4 vegetables and toil from morning 4 o'clock, our children will be happy. We think if we do an extra project and finish it up, they will, the opposite person. There is no end for satisfying somebody. The moment you satisfy somebody, the next demand will come in another 24 hours to 48 hours. So this goes as a never-ending circle. And at one stage, our upper limit will be crossed, wherein we are not able to stand up to the mark. And that is the time where people will find fault with us. And what we will say, I have done 90% of the work, and for all the years I have toiled only one mistake, and they are finding fault. This one mistake arises because we cross our upper limit. Had we known when to put a stop mark, had we known when to relax, had we know what is important for us, we won't get into this trouble. Most of you are teachers, I presume. Yes? All. So when you teach, how many of you prepare the day before what is to be taught to them, how it is to be given to them? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I want a specific response for this. How many of you prepare the day before the topic you want to discuss with them?
Everyone is telling yes, ma'am,
Okay, okay.
in the chat.
Okay. When you prepare, when you are
normally it is pre-designed like that, madam. We have lesson plan, lecture plan, and all those things. Maybe with respect to current trends and events, if there is any change, that particular day alone, there will be a change. Otherwise, most of the time it is already designed, madam, and prepared.
Okay, excellent. So when you have a pre-planned session, it is not going to interfere with any of your regular work. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Definitely,
Okay.
madam.
So when you have a pre-planned session, how many of you take extra pain to make that session more interesting to the students? Because you are going to say a particular topic is going to be the same. Yes.
Preparation in the sense, even though it is already designed to make it interesting, we will have to prepare because we'll have to keep the tempo of the students high. So definitely we will be planning, madam.
Okay, that's what I asked. How many of you plan a week before? Say, to next week, I have got this particular teaching session. So this is the topic I am going to discuss with my students. The students belong to the age group of 18 to 22. So this is what is going to make it interesting to them. Otherwise, see, 90% of you in engineering, you'll be dealing with maths and physics, which can be a dire boredom if students are not interested, and they won't get the facts at all into their mind. So what are the things I can put in? What are the examples I can state? How can I make it interesting? That's what I asked. How many of you prepare it that way a week before?
Most of the time, not every time, ma'am, to be honest, a week before, as like sir said, we all have a plan, like our lesson plan or calendar plan, and we go with it.
That's what, to make it, like for example, this session I can take monotonously putting a PowerPoint, reading the PowerPoint and finishing it up. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
If
Yes,
I do that, how many of you will listen to me? How many of you will listen to me?
We will listen, ma'am. All of us will listen, but how far we are interactive, it makes a difference.
No, practicing is even now it is difficult. It is
That's true,
easy for
ma'am.
me to discuss. For you to go put a practical plan and practice is yet to happen. Okay, what
Yes,
I'm saying
yes.
is this session, if I put it as a PowerPoint, time management is important. For those who work, you have to schedule your work accordingly. For those who work in the family, divide the chore along the children, make them work, make it interesting. If I put PowerPoint like that, will it reach you?
Not 100%, ma'am.
100% it will not reach. That's what I'm telling. So,
Yes, ma'am.
unless and otherwise, it is made as an interactive session, you will not interact, you will not listen to what I say. Number two,
Yes.
I have not given anything for you to see. I have not given anything for you to see. That makes you 100% attentive to what I say. Because it is a social discussion.
Yes.
This may not be possible in your physics or your engineering topics or program designing. But for that to be made important, you should make it evolve slide by slide so that each and every part is concentrated by the student. And random questioning the students will help them to interact with you. That is the second part. Third part is when you make it interesting, they will look forward for your class. You will, the very attendance will tell you how much the students appreciate your class. Fourth part is when you get a better response from them, you will start enjoying your work more. So the effort should start from us, not from the opposite side. That's what I said initially. We have to put in our 90 to 99% of work without expecting the response. Then your work is sincere, when you really make it reach them, when your communicating capacity is excellent, naturally the response will come. So this is how we should schedule the work. If we do in a pre-scheduled manner and to make it more interesting by adding anecdotes, short stories, everything, or a discussion, or you tell them a particular thing to prepare them and appreciate the one who has done the very good work, like that, if you interact with them, you will get the response you want. But without doing that, if you make a full preparation, you are sincere in your preparation. There is no doubt about it. Because as teachers, we want to give the students our 100%. But the students are not of the same category. As I asked you before, how many of you married, unmarried, women, men, etc. The students also belong to a different category. They come from different backgrounds. They come from different capacity of intelligence. So writing an A may be simple for an intelligent boy, but for a mediocre student, that will be a very difficult job. It is our duty as teachers to pinpoint and pick up. If we pick them up and give them an extra guidance, they will know you are the best teacher. They will know you are a person whom they can approach anytime, everywhere, anywhere with any sort of doubt. Most important thing, whenever a student asks a doubt, let it be the most stupidest one under the sun. Never ridicule them. Because that's what we face also. Like, I'm professor by profession. When I teach my final years, I would have taught them in the very first class the basics. And the final class, they will come and ask me, Madam, what is that? I got a doubt. But if we tell them, oh, you didn't listen to my class, why are you doing all that? No. Nowadays, two things are there. They don't have patience for any lecture. Number two, they don't want to be denounced publicly. These two are the aspects that are brought up in the children very badly, which has to be changed. Because nowadays we go for a single child norm, which I am basically against. When you have a single child norm and parents working, all the things that are taught to the child are not facts of life. The child is unnecessarily pampered. There is a saying in Tamil saying, Thai toothada play oor tootumbanga, indicating a child which is not scolded by the mother will be scolded by the public or people to correct the way of behavior or the way of life. So, how many of us inculcate all the basic discipline in children? How many of us tell our children? Nowadays, the way of teaching is do a mistake but don't get caught. How was it right? Wrongdoings are now wrongdoings irrespective of the timeline we are living in. Telling a lie is always wrong. Breaking an object knowingly is always wrong. Temper tantrums are always wrong. Respecting your parents is always right. Our parents are brought up, our parents may not be very much educated, but they have given us a good quality, that is a good character. Every one of us, we have survived in this society. How many of us faced suicides when we were school students or college students? Are we not taught by our teachers, literally hit by our teachers? Do we feel sad for that? Nowadays, can you scold any student? Why the problem comes? It's because of intolerance. They are not ready to take no for an answer. They are not ready to take a ridicule sportively. They want to be pampered. They want to be appreciated. They want their wrongdoings to be applauded. When all these facts are there, you won't get a proper response or a proper citizen for this country. So where this correction should start? This we should start at home. Our children are also future students. Each one of us, if we train our children as to way of life, tell them moral stories, take them off from the media. How many of you read books to your children at night?
Ma'am, repeat the question, ma'am.
How many of you would have small children in your house? Yes, one or two. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
How many of you take even Amar Chitrakatha, no problem. How many of you will read books to your children at night? Sit along with them, just read a story book to them.
No, ma'am.
Why?
We have read it when they were young, ma. I have read it for my kid.
So now what
Every
you
day.
do? How old are they now?
Now he's in class 11, ma'am.
Class 11 is still a kid. Hardly 15 years.
Okay, you mean even now we can read stories? Okay,
You need not read stories, but you can
but we can share
talk
something.
with him. Talk with him,
That's
share, or you can tell your experience and ask his opinion. In that way, you
Correct.
can make him share his experience. I tell you, whoever converses or communicates with their parents will never go back.
That's true. Yes, ma'am.
One thing, anybody who is affectionate to a child more than a mother is only a witch. True love comes only from parents. Okay? You do everything for your children rather than spending a quality time on a specific time with them. Every day, just keep half an hour for him, and make the sharing come from your side.
Okay.
Tell them this is what happened, this is what I did, this is what my HOD didn't appreciate me today, but I felt a bit sad. But then I will correct it, I will do it properly the next day. So you say it in a way that you take those comments positively for your improvement. So that will tell them indirectly that this is how they should respond to a comment that they face in future.
Okay.
Because nowadays we don't hit our children. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Basically, I feel one tap in the back, right at the engage, will put them in proper track. Anyway, so you have to make your quality time with your children, however busy we are, however workload we have, just half an hour to 1 hour, and start the session from your side. Never expect your child to come out and discuss. They will never do it because half the time they don't want to be find faulted. Because that is the general attitude of the peer group they move with. So you start it from your side, say, tell few of your experience, and then just casually ask them what happened in your school. Slowly, they may not respond at the first talk itself, but as days proceed, invariably they will be looking forward for that time to share with you and discuss with you and get your opinion. And who else can give them the best guidance other than you? When you do this at home, the stress of your work at home, the family commitments, everything will get lessened. This will improve your work quality when you go to work. And even, I tell you, when you find a stress at workplace, your children will give you how to manage that, instructions how to manage that.
That's true, ma'am.
That always happens. You can find a mother and father in your children, then you brought them up nicely. So you need not get a friend in them. I tell you, half the time Parents say, my child is like a friend to me. A 3-year-old can never be a friend to a 30-year-old. The
Yes.
emotions, the attitudes, the outlook towards life, everything is totally different. Till he becomes an adult, he can never be a friend. Please keep that very clear. Half the time, because they treat them like a friend, they behave like a friend, and the parents are not able to digest. That is the fact that happens. And somebody else comments on the way the children behave, again, they are not able to digest. You treat them like children, tell them what is right, what is wrong, definitively. And one more thing I feel is, when you want your children to grow up in a particular way, you be the role model. For example, if you teach your child not to tell lies, we should first stop telling lies. Because the children observe us more than anything. Even the slightest mistake we do, slightest reprimand we give them, it is observed by them, analyzed by them, and it is registered in their memory forever, whether we know it or not. So when we teach them, these are the good habits, these are the things you have to do, we should follow it first. That is where the problem arises. When we don't follow and tell them to follow, they don't take it seriously. Yes or no? When you don't do something, when somebody who doesn't do a particular work, when a smoker tells another person not to smoke, will he listen? No. For the smoker to make the other person quit smoking, he has to quit smoking first. So when we want our children to be a role models or a good citizens to the country, it is we who should start the initiative. We should do our work correctly. We should put our clothes in the proper place. We should tidy our place where we work in. We should get up at time. We should be regular in our work. It is a bit difficult, I do agree. But think of the fruits it is going to bear in a long run. In both ways, the stress will be released like anything. The moment you decrease the stress in your household, when you go to the workplace, you will be mentally at peace. When you are mentally not at peace, even a slightest reprimand, like in the next 5 minutes later, you will get irritated. That question would have come innocuously from your colleague. Just by seeing you, like wishing good morning, they would have asked. But if you take the household stress there, even correct that will be the response from us. So the whole working environment, mental peace will be lost. But if you are at peace, you will say, yes, my child has, I have to drop my children at school, so I was a bit late. You will take it in a positive way. That's more important. Number two, second, when you don't get the stress of your house to your working place, you will be able to plan your work very correctly. And mostly by God's grace, workplace plan is not a much of a stress. Because in teaching profession, it is what I say, syllabus is prefixed. You know what to teach, what not to teach, how to analyze, what are the questions that is going to be asked, and what are the projects they have to do. So we can make it more easy, more accessible to the students. So once these two are balanced, life will be a smooth flow. I tell you, above 40, every one of us it has had high risk for ischemic heart disease and heart attacks. Undiagnosed, it will come to you. Unless and otherwise, we schedule our work, we keep it very complacent, it is very difficult. Most important, how many of you do meditation or some form of yoga every day? None? No, don't think it is something very exclusive or a high-tech work or all. It's very simple. Anyone?
Um,
Okay. I tell you a simple technique. That's what I feel. I do every day. Switch off your phone just for 15 minutes. Not for a very long duration, just 15 minutes. Switch off your phone. Keep an alarm for 15 minutes. Okay? Sit in a comfortable position. The back has to be erect. Either you squat and sit or just put your leg on a chair opposite to you. Sit in a comfortable position. Just close your eyes. You need not do anything. You need not keep your mind blank. You just close your eyes. Sit simply for 15 minutes. You won't know what sort of emotions, thoughts that surface in your mind. That will do a very good cleaning process of your mind. When you do it in a long run, say even just for 1 month, you do it regularly, at least once a day, you will see it is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep, and you will feel totally freshened up, bright, and your intuitions will be very good. Believe it or not, it will control your BP. Anybody on antihypertensives, try this.
Sure, ma'am.
This surely gives result, and I mean it. Because crossing 40 is like crossing a big bridge of lifetime. Your responsibilities will be very high. The children will be in 10th, 12th, if not college. You will be in the fag end of your career where all the physical ailments starting to surface, joint pain, chest pain, body pain, palpitation, tiredness, everything will come. Workplace, you will be in an administrative side where you have to deal with so many people under you who will not be up to your standards or in your proper frequency. So everywhere the stress levels will bounce like anything. And whenever you say this, my son is in 10th, my daughter is in 12th, they have to study, doing 10 minutes household chore is a relaxation for them. It is not a stress for them. And in that 10 minutes, they are not going to get a state rank. Once they take their mind off the studies, do some other thing, and then go back to their studies, their mind will be fresh to grasp the matter. Instead of them watching television or going into WhatsApp, it is better they wash utensils and tie their own shoelaces. Okay, so program it. And mostly for ladies, also for males. Calcium deficiency is very common in our country. We may be right under the sun, but calcium deficiency is very high. Any female needs 8 liters of milk per day to replace the bone calcium, which is not possible. So take some form of calcium supplementation and take a healthy drink. And usually at night, try to finish your dinner before 8 o'clock. Go to bed by 10. Have 6 hours of good sleep. Program your sleep. You will just see how your life improves. Program your sleep. Don't think night is there for to complete your incomplete work of the day. 6 hours of sleep will make you complete 5 hours of work in 1 hour. That will improve your efficiency. So whichever convenient time, for example, if you're going to get up at morning 5 o'clock, go to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, 11 to 5 at least. Make it addictive. Living a life which is like an alarm is never wrong. This will improve the longevity. This will decrease the stress. This will give some value to your life. It will make you feel more important. Living a qualified, regular life is never a disgrace. It will give a meaning to your life. So schedule everything, even your sleep you schedule. That will give you a lot of comfort because this will help you to manage time. When you go do your chores as per time, time is at your control. When you do things haphazardly and don't sleep properly, try to complete household work at office, office work at house, day work at night, night work at day, time controls you. All the emotional stress will come, your capacity to work will go down, your stress level will increase, you won't get the best out of you and you won't deliver the best out of you. Finally, we feel ourselves as a failure and blame ourselves for whatever has not been completed. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody wants to ask any question, you can ask.
Any questions?
Ma'am, wonderful session, ma'am. Whatever the question that we are trying to ask, you have answered all the questions, ma'am. Really, really very useful, ma'am. You
Now,
have,
what I talk to you is from my personal experience. It
yes,
is
ma'am.
not from anybody else's life. That's what I do.
Exactly the
Because
practical experience, ma'am.
this is what will be, because as a professional, I get calls at night 2 o'clock, at night 3 o'clock. I cannot be shouting at my assistant professor for waking me up or asking me how to manage a case. in that case, like I have to schedule everything. I cannot let my household, because house is equally important. If I don't spend time with my children, I become a stranger to them. At 60 years, I cannot say, I am your mother, you have to take care of me. I have to show every day that I am their mother. So this is important. Unless and otherwise we program our life, it is very difficult to manage. And please do meditation for 15 minutes. That improves your work capacity like anything. The intuition goes very sharper.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, no, ma'am, you were telling like how we should schedule our home, our children, and when we have a proper balance things, and our stress level will go. That's and our workplace will be fine. What if it is a reverse, ma'am? If in our workplace things are not in our control, like some things which is out of our control, administration or our superior or any other things, definitely we are reflected by that stress.
That is
Something which
always
is
there. I do agree. But one
yes,
thing you
ma'am.
think,
How?
you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
what is expected of you to work. Yes or no? For
Yes, ma'am.
example, see, like I'm an associate professor. So when
Yes,
I
ma'am.
go, I am in charge of the 250 cases there. One case will be
Okay.
properly managed by my assistant. One case will not be managed properly at all by
Okay.
the same assistant.
Okay.
Okay? The house surgeon would not have checked the BP for a particular patient and the patient would be throwing a fit in another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. All this are supposed to be not under my control.
Okay.
But
So you mean yes,
who,
ma'am.
who has the overall responsibility? Myself.
It's you. Yes, ma'am.
Myself. So, as my five fingers cannot be the same, for every one of them, I cannot expect the proper course of action. Where my assistant goes wrong, I have to correct her. I have to say, if this is happens, they will give an inquiry wherein you have to answer for this particular baby's death. What happened? Why they were late referral? Why you didn't follow it up? I have to question her. But put in the questions in a way so that she realizes where she has gone wrong. That will help her to learn. And whenever she does a good work, don't fail to appreciate. When you don't appreciate and find fault alone only, the problems arise. When you appreciate them for the good work, and when you find fault with them with the wrongs they do, they will know you are correct in what you say.
Okay.
Second thing, things may not be under control at all. I do agree. But we know our protocol. Yes?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
we do our protocol, we need not worry about other disturbances.
Okay. And
Whatever
we
disturbance comes from outside, only if you allow it to enter inside, it will disturb you. Yes or no?
yes, ma'am.
So, if ஒரு சிம்பிளா சொல்லுவாங்க நம்மளே ரோட்ல நடந்து போயிட்டு இருக்கோம் கார்லயே
Yes.
போயிட்டு இருக்கோம் சடன்லி வேகமா ஒரு டாக் பாக் பண்ணிட்டு விரட்டிட்டு வரோம் நம்ம போயிடுவோம் அப்புறம் அதுவும் போயிடும் 5 நிமிஷம் டிஸ்டர்பன்ஸ் தான் இல்லைங்கள நம்ம கண்ட்ரோல்ல இல்லாத ஈவென்ட் தான் இல்லைங்கள பட் லெட் அஸ் நாட் லெட் இட் டிஸ்டர்ப் அஸ் மென்டலி when we are
Okay.
right we need not worry about others who find fault with us but
Okay.
for that you should be 100% right. Yes, when we
Okay.
don't do the
Yes.
work and somebody finds fault with us, we are wrong, we have to correct it. That is mandatory. And
Okay.
there is one part called consciousness within every one of us. Whenever we do a job, we know whether we have done it rightly or wrong. 100% we know.
Okay.
When we may justify ourselves to the higher authority or find fault with the lower authority, some things we will do. But in our heart of heart, we will know what is wrong. When in our heart of hearts it says you have done the correct job, don't worry, we need not worry. Because for us, what will happen, we'll have 101 cases. All will not be good. Everything will be bad cases and referred. Once when we were all assistants, we won't know what for our chief is holding us. Come bombard like anything. We used to come and even my husband won't scold us. Okay, but once we know we have done our job correctly, it is undoubtedly it is some other stress they are letting it upon us.
Okay. So
They themselves
we
will
should
know.
accept it.
They themselves will know
Okay.
that. After some time they'll say it is not because of you, because that person said this thing, I scolded you, I'm sorry, etc. That will come in a later stage. But once you have not done anything wrong, and you are being crucified for something which you have not done, you need not take it up into you personally. Okay?
Very
That will
nice
help you
lines,
to
ma'am.
deal with
Thank you,
many
ma'am.
things.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, good evening.
Good
This is
evening.
Kirti
Thank you,
from
ma'am. Thank you so
Coimbatore.
much.
This is Kirti from Coimbatore, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, ma'am.
Sure.
What if we do, like, be it a home or official, when they set the expectation to be more, every time they raise the bar, whatever we achieve, and they raise the bar each and every time, and they say this is your goal and you have to achieve this, you can do it. They give all the flowery words, and it creates some kind of stress in us, and we
No,
never
that creates
let.
a false image that you can do it.
Yeah, how do we handle these people, ma'am, around us?
When I
Something like
told,
take it for granted. This
I
this
told,
fellow will do anything at any time. She'll be ready to do, if we give some flowery words to her, she'll be ready to do. So take
so
it
that is the
something for granted.
impression you have created. That is the impression you have created. In the middle of the discussion itself, I told you, as an example for husband and wife, I told you, when you expect something from the opposite person, you tell them that. And also I told you, when you do the work beyond limits, your upper limit will keep on going up. And there comes a stage where the upper limit cannot be reached by you and the stress level breaks. I told you during the discussion.
Yeah.
So when somebody says you have to do this, you know the type of work. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You know how that particular work can be done.
Definitely.
You know how long it will take to be done. Yes?
Definitely, ma'am.
Yes. Then you put it in the same flowery word, sir, this particular work has to be done in such and such way. It takes such and such time to be over, and it needs so much manpower from this. You give me all this, I will complete the work very pleasantly.
A diplomatic way of saying no.
Diplomatically, a no has to be told a no.
Okay.
There is one saying, never say yes when you want to say no.
Yes, ma'am. I can understand. But it's very hard to practice something,
No,
saying
it
no
is
to a
not
person.
hard to practice. It is always difficult to practice it for the first time.
Okay.
It is the first time that is it. You just think how many times you would have said no to your own father and mother
Never.
or your husband.
Never, ma'am. Never in my
First,
lifetime.
the father and mother.
No, seriously, never in my lifetime. They at some point of time, they are at dissatisfied level. Even after one point of moment, they say, I am their parents. I did more than anything to them, but now they are expecting again more and more, and I am unable to reach it, and they are
That that's
distressed out of.
that's that is what I tell you. You
Mm.
cannot satisfy everybody. First, satisfy yourself. First, satisfy yourself. Then only first time, like you have to satisfy yourself. By that I mean you should know your ups and downs. You should know your limitations. Because one fine day you will not be able to satisfy anybody at all. That's what I told you. After years of work, they are not appreciating me. Will be the depression that arises in many of us.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call a spade, that is categorized. They will accept you. They will accept you. Saying no in between 5 years is never a problem. You learn it from children. You tell them to do which they cannot do, they will emphatically say, என்னால செய்ய முடியாது. அவ்வளவுதான்.
Yeah, they have a good
They
reason
will
also.
emphatically say that.
Yeah.
Because they know their limits. As adults, it's better we be like children. We live a simple life, accept people as they are with both false and positives, know our limitations, keep everybody happy. Like we should not bring the stress level from work and dump it on our children, or take the house stress there to the work and dump it there. These two are entirely different categories with different expectations. Even we have expectations from our children. We want them to get always first rank. Yes or no? How much stress we are putting on a little heart. We expect them to get up, we go to the school, come home, play, finish all the homework, keep everything neatly. Apart from that, get always a first rank. If everybody gets first rank, what is the value for second rank, third rank, and other ranks?
Being teacher, we won't be
Thank you, ma'am.
forceful, I believe,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So I'll try to get this, ma'am. Get this done. Emotionally, I should be stay strong to say no, I believe.
No, no, it need not be say something. Simply say, the smile, say no. It's difficult. I have to go somewhere else. People are expecting more from me everywhere. That is the problem. Only you will understand me. Put it in soft words. They will understand.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. I'll take it from
Sure.
this. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am. It is
Thank you.
not only for Keerti, ma'am, it's for others also, ma'am, because we have that, many of us have that problem. So
All of
thank
us
you,
have.
ma'am. All of us have, ma'am. So very, very nice, interactive session, ma'am. It is not that you have touched on so many things. So you did touch on like what is emotions, how it affects, and how it contributes for our quality of life. You have given a very good lesson about work life balance, and it is also like a moral session. You said us like how to upbring our kids, and what are all the values we have to impart, and then how we should be happy on our own so that we are happy. So that is what is the biggest lesson you have delivered today. That is, first we should be satisfied with ourselves than before we try to satisfy anyone else. And you gave a very easy meditation, so how to switching off your mobile and switching off from the gadgets, and how and you said one nice thing, ma'am, that is what I have heard from first time from you. That is like when we you said like you switch off for 15 minutes, and you said, and your inner intuition works very well. So that was something a new input I did get from you, ma'am. So you mean that having a self minutes that improves our intuition. So
Surely,
very
surely.
sure, ma'am. Very, very wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time in the midst of your pressure of your work and other things, and talking with your mask. I think we all will know how difficult, now, right now we are having a mask and we couldn't even hold it for 10 minutes while we drive. But you're with your mask, and you have delivered nearly for 1 solid hours. Hats off to you, ma'am, really. So heartfelt thanks to you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Very
Kavita.
nice speech, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Shall we wind up, ma'am? As there are no further questions, can we wind up?
Oh, thank you, Vijayalanda.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Kavita, shall we wind up?